We share. Oh, take a ride with me.
Hi, my name is Fola, popularly known or commercially known as Fola Stag. I am a portrait, food, and commercial photographer. I have worked with quite a number of brands. I've worked with Amber Energy Drink, Mattel Nigeria, Mercedes-Benz Nigeria, and I'm also a very, very good cook. I know since I was young, I've always had a knack for creative visuals. I've always had a knack for drawing. I've always had a knack for storytelling and on and on and on. And I would always have my storybook with me anywhere I went to. I would always sketch something, draw something, make imaginary stories with my friends, tell each other stories in the class, and all of that, and all of that. And fast forward to when I entered secondary school, it was quite confusing on what to do, because you know how a lot of people would say, oh, when you go to school you should do medicine or do sciences, do this, do that. And honestly, I was very, very confused. Okay, do I want to be an engineer? Do I want to be an accountant? Do I want to be a doctor? And because some of my family members thought, oh, you are very intelligent, you should be a doctor, you should be this, you should be that. For my high school, I was in commercial class, and then I would always say I want to become the governor of World Bank, I be whatever, president or whatever. I don't like calculations. I honestly don't like calculations, and okay, then I made it to the university. I became a student of business administration. Like, how? So here's the deal. While I was writing my entrance exam, or while I was filling the form, my family wanted me, or my dad wanted me to do something more profound, so to say, because I told him, I said, okay, I want to go and do theater arts. I want to be an actor full time. And he looked at me, or I think it was even over the phone, and was like, I want to go and become Babasue? Never. And I'm like, okay. I asked my sister, so what should I do? And she said, you should do accounting. And I looked at her and said, if I do accounting, I'm going to spend 10 years in school. I don't like calculation. Fast forward, backward, everything, I ended up doing business administration. It was quite an experience for me, because okay, fine, my 100 level, I was trying to catch up, I was trying to meet up, and you know, the ginger is still there. And 200 level, I started falling behind because the calculations got tougher, and I'm like, wow, I don't think I belong here. And should I say, unluckily for me, my course mates, a lot of them did not even know I was in the class with them, because I was always quiet. It wasn't friendly for me. So 300 level, I tried to come back up, and my 400 level, when it became really, really tedious, that was in 2014. I was like, okay, you know what, I don't think I can do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. So I left school for 2 years. I didn't tell anybody, not family, not friends. I just left school and said, you know what, let me go find myself. And at this point, I was already practicing photography. I was already training myself for photography. I already got a small camera. I was taking it everywhere. At this point, my name was already flying around the school. Oh, there's a young photographer, stag photography. And I felt, okay, I think this is what I need to do. So I left school for 2 years. I followed photography full time. And honestly, those 2 years were the eye openers I needed. And in that 2 years, I found myself, and luckily I was able to come back to school with the help of a lot of people, because honestly, it wasn't an easy decision. At all, especially when you're already making money outside school. You understand that, oh wow, there's so much more to tap from outside school, and you're here sitting and doing one course you probably don't even like. So yeah, I finally finished school. And I mean, during my break, I had already created, or during my space, I had already created a niche for myself as a portrait photographer. I had been working with some brands. That was when I got my first job with Mercedes-Benz and some other brands, and I'm already like, wow. On that Mercedes-Benz job, it was quite funny because the person that reached out to me through Instagram. She was also a Babcock alumni, and she messaged me. And the thing about me is I'm usually very reluctant to reply messages on Instagram, especially if you don't go straight to the point. I'm already like, don't waste my time. So while she was texting me, I am so person, and I'm like, what do you want? I think she noticed my reluctancy, if that's a real word, and she was like, okay, I work for Mercedes-Benz Nigeria, and this, and we need a photographer. And I'm like, oh wow, let's go. And honestly, at that time, I didn't know how to charge. They needed portraits of 5 people, and I'm like, how will I go about this? I started calling people who have been in photography before me. Okay, how should I charge? How do I do this? How do I do that? And the girl said, okay. I think she called on like a Friday, on a Thursday, and she was like, okay, we'd like to have an interview with you on Friday. So I got dressed and went for the interview. And funny thing, at the interview, I was dressed to my best at that period, and I was sitting down in the reception, and they had informed them that, okay, the photographer is waiting downstairs. So the person in charge came down and said, oh, where's the photographer? And the receptionist was like, oh, that's him. And she looked at me, you are Stag? And I'm like, yes, I am Stag. And she goes, interesting. So I followed her to the what's it called, to the boardroom. There were like 8 people sitting down waiting for me. Hey. Excuse me, can I like go back? Because I'm not prepared for this. So I entered the meeting. While I closed the door, I could notice they were still looking at the door like, okay, maybe your guy go soon enter, because who are you? And then she goes, oh yeah, everybody, that is Stag. And they were all confused, like, okay, so this is him. And they started throwing questions at me. At first I was kind of nervous, like, wow. Oh, I went with some of my works on my laptop, which I had shot for Babcock, because during my break, my space, I was using Babcock University to learn. I was already shooting the school calendar. I was already helping out with quite a number of projects. We're already shooting videos, like the happy video, for instance. We were doing a lot of things. So I didn't stop myself from, or I intentionally became a part of it, because it made me feel so alive. It felt like, yes, something I can actually be a part of, not calculations. I want to be a part of that. So I had used Babcock to strengthen myself, how to control light, how to control light inside, how to control light outside. I had done so much for myself. Sometimes I don't even realize how much I've done with myself in that space. And they started asking me questions. Oh, this your works? How sure are we that you can pull off what we need you to do? And I don't know where the courage just came from, and I started countering them. And honestly, after the meeting, they told me to wait behind, and they gave me cash. When I say cash, I mean like big bundle of cash. I charged them, at the end of the day, I charged them about 160 to shoot 5 people's portraits. And yeah, I didn't get the value of the job, or I didn't get the value I'm supposed to get at that time. But then it was something to me. It was like my first breakthrough, like, woo. And I looked at the money. I didn't know what to do with it. Like, okay, so should I just go on the road and just go whew? But then they said, oh, we needed to shoot on Monday, and Monday came. I was in relation that period. I called my friend Ario and Patrick, guys, we have something big, so let's go. We left Babcock around 5 a.m. The shoot was supposed to be 9 a.m. We got to Lekki, where the location was, at around 8. Another story. Immediately we got there, they were already like, oh, our boss is German, he doesn't like rubbish, he likes going straight to the point, he doesn't like when people are messing around, you just go straight to the point. They said, okay, while you're waiting, you should shoot the first 4 people before our boss comes down. And I started setting up. I shot the 4 people. The portraits were amazing. I didn't even expect that kind of outcome at that time. And immediately the boss was ready. He started rushing. They called me with their reception phone. Oh, get ready, because I was shooting in the showroom. Get ready, he's coming down. Get ready, he's coming down. And I just became something else. I was shaking, I was this, I was that. Okay, guys, let's do this. And then he came out and truly was like, oh, I have only 5 minutes. I have only 5 minutes. I'm like, okay, let's go. While I was taking the portrait, it just felt like something whispered to me, please don't rush with him, because the outcome will not be based on his reactions now. It's going to be based on your expertise. And I just took a deep breath and I was like, sir, I need you to keep calm. And he was like, no, you don't tell me what to do. I said, sir, if you want the best of this portrait, I need you to keep calm. Guys, fast forward, I shot the man from like 10 a.m. He was supposed to have a meeting by 11, if I'm correct. I shot him between 10 a.m. till 12 p.m. because he enjoyed the pictures. He was excited. He wanted to see more. And they added another 6 set of people, and they still paid me another cash. And after the whole shoot, he looked at me and called my name. Imagine a German calling my name. Afolabi, you're good. Hey! It was in this moment I knew nothing was going to stop me. And yeah, that was in 2016. I went back to school 2017 to finish up, and then 18 I was out. And entering back into the market was quite difficult. Honestly, it was quite difficult because you as a creative, especially in this age, you have to be consistent. Honestly, you have to be consistent, and not just consistent, you have to be positively consistent. So you can't just be dropping any kind of content. You have to be making sure that people are following up on what you're doing. I realize that sometimes it's not even the outcome people are about. They're about how you do it. So even if it is your stories you're dropping out there, oh, today I am doing so, even if it doesn't have anything to do with your job particularly, just drop something. Let people follow up. Let people understand your workflow. Even if it is not detailed, you can just give them like an impression. Okay, this is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. And within the 2 years I went back to school, I didn't do any of that because I was overwhelmed. I was just all up in my head, like, let me just get this cool thing done. And 2019 November, okay, yeah, I got a job. I got a 9 to 5 with Alpha Sports. It's one of the top sports brands in Nigeria. I was working with them, and honestly, that was another major constraint for me, or one, I don't know what to call it. I don't see myself working in an office space, waking up every morning, listening to one boss commanding me and telling me what to do. And it felt like something I could do at first because, yeah, I was being a creative photographer for them, but then I felt like I wasn't putting enough. Most of the ideas I pitched, they either shoot it down, or I'm like, this is not where I belong. So I got a job with the governor of Bayelsa in October 2019 during the election period. I went to Bayelsa, and that's another story entirely. It was a whole lot of hula baloo. Yeah. So I said, nah, I don't feel safe in Bayelsa. I am going back to Lagos where I can control the things I can control. So I ran back to Lagos, and it happens that, or because I enjoy cooking a lot, I started cooking. And before then, I would usually use my phone to take the pictures of the food and post on my Twitter especially, and just create conversations around it. And um, that fateful day, I think it was about November 19, I just said, okay, you know what? I want to shoot a meal I make myself. And I shot the first food. The reactions were crazy. The reactions were mind blowing. Everybody went crazy. Oh wow, you can do this. This is sick. This is this. This is that. I'm like, this is the littlest of the things I can do. Well, okay. So I went on, shot another, and before I knew it, I was collaborating with chefs. I was learning from chefs. People from India were reaching out. People from France. I'm like, okay, are you guys joking right now? And then I said, okay, if this is it, let's just do it. So I started learning about food. I started learning about how food reacts. I started learning about how food will look on a plate. And next thing, I was shooting for brands. Brands were reaching out to me, and I'm like, wow. So in that moment, it felt like I had found myself. It felt like I had gone through all I went through, so I could resort to that moment. Because even while I was in school and doing business administration, I felt like I didn't understand anything. But honestly, graduating and finding myself in some situations, and the small things I remember from school, let me put it that way, the small things I remember from business administration, those are the things that helped me out. Like for instance, even let me start with Babcock. Babcock organized a what's it called, grant of 200,000 in 2018 for the best business plan. And even when I was in school, I'm like, I beg, nobody should talk to me about business. Let me just do what I want to do. Let me just be creative and wild. That was what I was about. But one time I think I was going through some of the books I read in school, and then I was reading something online or watching a video, and they were asking me specific questions, and I was writing them down. I was writing down the answers, or where do you see yourself in 5 years? How much are you making right now? And all of that and all of that. And when Babcock announced the grant thing, I was like, okay, let me go online and look for a template of what a business plan should look like. And honestly, when I downloaded it and went through it, I'm like, I answered these questions already. I have the answers already. So all I just did was, use English to define them, and yes, I got 200,000 naira grant. And in that same year, the Bank of Industry organized another grant, and I got 2 million naira. I'm like, okay, this is awesome. So from there, like I said, it felt like in those moments, it feels like whatever you're going through is for that moment. So one of the things I usually tell people now is, every moment you find yourself, appreciate it. Whatever you find your hands doing, do it well. Even if it is not in the field you like, whatever you're doing, do it well, learn it well. Any chance you have to create it. If you're creative, any moment you have to create something. Conversations, images, whatever it is you're creating, music, just do it. You don't have to hold yourself back and say, oh, because this is not what I like to do, you don't want to do it. Just do it, and you'll be surprised. It may not be now, it may not be 2 years, it may not be 3 years. There will be somebody that will just say, oh, I remember one guy that I met at so place, and he said he could do this, and he did that day. And yeah, and in fact right now I am going for a reality show of 15 million, and I went for the audition 2 years ago, and I didn't make it in because my business plan was not strong enough for them at that period. But this year, I barely said anything at the interview, and they were like, oh, you're going to be in. And I'm like, oh wow. So yeah, I have grown between 2019 and 2021 because I kept on growing, I kept on learning, I kept on moving, I kept on, And one of the things that helped me again was lockdown. During the lockdown as well, I tried to maximize it. in terms of creating whatever I could create. It gave me freedom to create whatever I could create. I went on creating. It may not make sense to me sometimes, and I'm just going on to create it. And while people are saying, oh, it's so hard to survive during this COVID, brands were reaching out. Oh, we need you to shoot this for us, and all they have to do is send us the product. Send me the product. Oh, we need you to make a pasta fafle with this, and send us the picture, and still get paid for it. So I cook the food, eat the food, get paid for it, and all they need is just the images. Do you understand? So, my cooking story, if I should even go into that, is another story entirely. But I feel like I'm just going to be prolonging this thing because, yeah, I used to stand with my mom in the kitchen. I used to stand with my auntie in the kitchen. So, in fact, if I come to your house and you're cooking, I'm just going to stand beside you and just watch you do your thing, because cooking is a part of me, photography is a part of me, acting is a part of me. And honestly, in fact, for Amber Energy Drink, they had a competition. And the competition was basically you showing how you can be different things at different times. And honestly, in the video, all I did was introduce myself as a photographer with different costumes, introduce myself as an actor, introduce myself as a cook, and introduce myself as a comic relief. And yeah, that too gave me 1 million naira earlier this year. That was February 2021. And ever since, because they see something I can do, they see a way I can be of help to the brand. I've been shooting the brand's billboards, I've been shooting the publications, and a lot of other things. And I'm really grateful for those moments. Same thing with Oppo last year, which was a race for 1 million naira, although I didn't get to come out as the first. But yeah, I was able to create an impression with what I could do. So one of my mantras is, whatever you find yourself doing, do it well. And whatever you can do extremely good at it, do it. And whatever you have, use it to get what you want. Yes, that's it. Whatever you have, use it to get what you want. Because you may not realize that you have it. You may be looking somewhere else. But when you're enjoying the moment, when you're in the moment, you tend to appreciate what you have. And you're able to show people, this is what I can do. This is who I am. And between 2016, for instance, when my family finally realized I left school, yeah, everybody was disappointed. My dad turned his back, and it's something else. Honestly, that period I was down. I woke up every day with anxiety. I woke up every single day with anxiety. I just wake up and start asking myself questions. So, what if I don't make it in life? What if I fail? What if? And the moment I started listening to myself, it felt like everything started blending. The moment I started listening to the inside of me that says, keep calm and do what you have to do. And honestly, between that period and now, I mean, when my Amber commercial came out, that was everywhere. BBC, Super Sports, everywhere. The billboard, everywhere. My father has even been the one telling people, oh, that's my son on TV, that's my son on TV. He was at the hospital for an eye surgery many months ago, and I was with him. And honestly, every doctor that comes in, he keeps saying, that's my son on TV, that's my son on TV. And it feels like God has written it that anytime a doctor comes in, the advert will start on TV. And he's like, aha, see, that's my son on TV. Even though he had a plaster on his face, and it gave me something. I don't know what to call it, but it just gave me this peace of mind that, yeah, it gave me this sense of, you're doing something right. Continue doing what you're doing. And the fact that a lot of people reach out to me, people I'm looking up to, some people I don't even expect to know my name. I go to some gatherings and I go, oh, I am so, and they're like, nah, don't worry, I know you. And it blows my mind. Honestly, that's one of the things that blows my mind. Like, you know me? Hey! And those things just give me goosebumps. And I'm grateful for everything. I mean, every single process. So as an individual, first I'll tell you personally, enjoy every process. Enjoy every process. Enjoy every process. Don't try to skip any process. If you think you can go from point A to Z in a few, no. Yeah, it works for some people. I don't know how the universe arranges it or arrange it, but some people tend to move like phew. And for some people, first of all, you just need to understand yourself. Personally, one thing I am always grateful for is my growth. You can't see me last year and see me this year and think I'm the same person. I'm definitely not the same person. I look back and I'm like, wow. I look back at my throwback pictures. I'm like, wow, what was in my mind that time? I look back at my works. I look back at everything. So if I'm to say to anybody, I'll say, first of all, appreciate your growth. And in every moment you find yourself, no matter how difficult it may be, no matter how sad, no matter just be grateful and enjoy it. And for parents, I think I'll always tell, or one of my things to say now or to do now is to become that parent to my children, that parent who understands my child's process. I want to understand my children's creative process and be with them. And sometimes I don't even need money from my parents. My mom is late, but sometimes I just want to listen to their countenance when they are talking to me, if that's right. I just want to hear his voice and say, oh, hello sir, how are you doing today? If he sounds lively to talk to me, if it means, okay, we are in good space and I can keep doing what I'm doing. Yeah, because I don't have that strong relationship with my dad. So yeah, that's one of the ways it feels like I can get all those things. And yeah, I think one of the things I'll always pray about is to become that parent to my children. I have shared, and I hope somebody out there is inspired. I hope you are inspired, and I hope you are able to keep moving no matter what you're going through. Always say to yourself, not just the process be this, we keep moving.